Here's exactly why I think Ripple's new stablecoin called RL USD is going to make XRP virtually obsolete in the specific context of Ripple's business mission. This is going to be a long video, so hold the screen to play it on 2x speed, and please let me know if you agree. Starting from the top, RL USD is a superior product, and here is why. There's a very real burden of volatility risk, right? XRP price can go up or it can go down. And the block time for XRPL is 3 to 5 seconds. So in this instance, let's use 4 seconds as kind of like our case study baseline. And so during this transaction time, there is a very real possibility that the price can go up or it can go down, right? If the price goes up, then the transmitter loses value because they sent too much. If the price goes down, then the receiver loses value because, well, they're receiving less dollar denominated value. This is not this is not slippage. This is not absence of volume. This has nothing to do with liquidity. This is purely volatility risk of an asset that can change value. And this is a real cost that someone or their counterparty has to carry. That's a fact. With the XRP token, there's no way around that. RL USD is a superior product, but it relies on it, right? XRP is a gas token for RL USD, but this value more or less won't change, right? No change. Yeah, okay, a dollar stable coin can be worth 0.99998, or maybe it's worth 1.0001 or whatever it may be, but the parity is much closer. This creates asymmetric demand for RL USD, right? High demand. Because if we are operating on the assumption that a relatively significant portion of XRP are, let's call it business holders, i.e. they intend to use XRP for the intended business case, right? Peer-to-peer transmission, remittance, whatever you want to call it, cross-border payments, they are going to flock to RL USD because of volatility risk. This is going to create increased demand for RL USD, and if demand for RLD increases, that means inherently it is because demand for XRP is decreasing XRP demand from these people who are using it for the business case. I am talking about their mission statement on their website, right? Deliver real-time global payments without tying up capital and destination markets, expand your reach and accelerate your payments. This is the Ripple website, their words, not mine, right? Their business case, the reason they have the XRP token is to fulfill Ripple's business purpose, right? They built a product to fit the market they want to serve. That's it. So any user who wants to use XRP for the Ripple defined business case should instead use RL USD. That's it. This creates a liquidity vacuum for the stablecoin away from XRP when using the XRPL for Ripple's use case. It's just a matter of product fit. The volatility risk is too high. Plain and simple. But when we look at XRP gas prices, like it's like 10 drops or something like that, right? Like 0.00, I think it's 6 zeros. I don't know. XRP is pretty cheap. Low key, it's actually an efficient blockchain, right? The block time, 3 to 5 seconds, super reasonable. This is the gas price. But the problem is that gas price intentionally does not scale with size, which is a good thing. That's good, right? It does not scale. No scale, C size. Does not scale with size, which is fine. So you can send $10 million for 10 drops. That's awesome. That is an efficient blockchain. But that creates asymmetric demand for XRP versus RL USD, right? If you want to move $10 million, you only have to buy a fraction of a penny of XRP to do so. So people who hold XRP are inherently and intrinsically motivated to move those holdings to something that doesn't change in value. Yes, it could go up, but when we look on a chart from 2023 until now, that hasn't been the case. Right? XRP is up 27%, while Bitcoin is up 246%. And for Ripple's use case, peer-to-peer payments, people aren't looking for volatility risk. They are looking for a solution, right? A peer-to-peer remittance system. So beyond the value of speculation, XRP doesn't have much value for that use case when a superior product exists. So I have 2 case studies that I want to go over. Super easy to understand. Number 1, yesterday, July 29th, 2024. This is a 1-second chart of XRP USD on the most high volume market on planet Earth, Binance, right? XRP USDT. The most liquid market for XRP. In 4 seconds, that is exactly what the number here shows. There was a 0.12% markdown in XRP's price, right? 4 seconds is XRP's block time. So let's say someone started a $10 million transfer at the start of that 4-second window. Price then marked down 0.12% and the transaction completed. $10 million transfer, 0.12% of that is $12,000 US. Who covers that, right? They intended to send 10 million and instead they get $9,988,000, right? Like that is not the intended value. And those fees would be in excess of what someone would pay for the traditional system. That's a fact. Today, there's a different one. July 10th, 2024. It was like an hour ago. There was same thing. The most liquid market for XRP on planet Earth, Binance USDT. In 10 seconds, there was a 0.6 or 0.59. We'll read the real number. There was a 0.59% drawdown in 10 seconds. So this could encapsulate multiple blocks, right? In theory, this could, right? If the intended block time is 3 to 5 seconds, in theory, this could be 3 blocks. But that is still very high volatility for a user to stomach during a transaction time let alone when you look at the implied volatility of just XRP on its own. XRP is the orange line, like right here, if you guys can see it. So they're subjecting themselves to the intrinsic volatility of the asset. They're accepting the intrinsic volatility of the asset during transaction time and the preceding value that's lost. And my argument is, why would they do that when they can use a stablecoin for the intended purpose of Ripple's business case? I am not talking about DeFi on XRPL. I'm not talking about NFTs. I'm not talking about those retail-centric use cases that have yet to be adopted by institutions on a large scale, because they haven't. They haven't. The total value locked of the XRPL is less than $1 million, which makes it like, I mean, we could do some very basic math here, right? So what we can do is we can hop over to our handy dandy calculator, just like Calvin Hill, and there's $195,000 total value locked, 195,000, divided by, we'll do XRP's circulating market cap of 24.169 billion. So 24.169, then we're going to add 6 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. We're going to do this math, and we're going to times it by 100 to get a percentage. So that means in 24 hours, 0.0008% of XRP is being used in 24 hours. Yes, you can make the case there's really not that many interesting places to use it. Yes, XLS30D is coming out, or has come out, blah, 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 blah. It's maturing. It is late in the layer 1 horse race. It is. That is unequivocal. So, next point. There's a volatility risk, right? The customer has to assume, and that the reason the customer has to assume it is because product selection. They can choose XRP, or they can choose RL USD for the intended use case of Ripple Labs. Plain and simple. But now the next question is, was XRP intentionally volatile, right? The XRP team is really, or the Ripple team, sorry, is very smart. Undoubtedly. They've built a multi-billion-dollar token. They've built a multi-billion-dollar company. They have substantial industry connections. I'm not denying any of that. They are smart. But when they were thinking of bringing a product to market, obviously they had a V1 in mind. Do you think they intentionally chose a volatile token? Do you think they intentionally chose not to make a stablecoin? And my answer is yes. I think they did. And the reason they chose V1, let me just annotate this as XRP, as a volatile token is because it had a lot of benefits. They needed a volatile token to help fundraise, right? How do you fundraise with a stablecoin? You can't. You fundraise with an asset or equity that is subject to increase in value, right? Further, they needed it for like escrow, right? Because the value of their escrow releases increase in value as XRP proceeded. I mean, I was trading XRP in 2016 when it was worth 1/100th of 1 penny, right? Like compared to now, that is thousands of percentage, maybe not thousands, hundreds of percent higher in value. And so fundamentally, the volatility helped them. Volatility of XRP relative to where they initially launched has been very, very helpful, right? It helped them sell equity through the token at a much higher price. It helped them fundraise, and most importantly, it helped them bootstrap their business, right? They are a multi-billion-dollar entity. But part of the reason why they got there is because they were able to make a token, it rapidly appreciated in value. They own a lot of it themselves, or they are able to sell a lot of it themselves because their adjusted cost basis of that token is 0. Yeah, okay, there's technology costs, there's staffing costs, whatever, but when you make a token, your adjusted cost basis is 0 because you are not paying for that token, you gave it to yourself. And if we compare this to the V2 product of RL USD, if they were to have done this when they first launched, well, suddenly they wouldn't have been able to fundraise effectively without selling equity, right? And they wouldn't have been able to bootstrap their business without diluting their own equity holdings to oblivion, right? Because if they wanted to bootstrap their business and be able to develop the infrastructure that they have now, they would have had to sell more and more and more and more equity. And part of the reason why I think they didn't do it is because stablecoin issuance is a game of arbitrage. And I'm going to switch over to a new paint tool and highlight this idea. I had one open. There it is. USDT is the most comfortable or the most profitable company on planet Earth per employee. iFinex is the parent company. In 4 months, let me get the official number. I have it pulled up here. They made $4.52 billion. Not in revenue, profit. They have less than 100 employees. I will say that again. They made $4.2 billion in profit with less than 100 employees. That means on average they're making, I don't know, I think they have 70 employees. So that would mean, I don't know, they're making $200 million per employee per capita. That is fucking insane. Stablecoin issuance is a really good business model for one reason. It's arbitrage. What they do is they take USD deposits, they issue a stablecoin, and then while that stablecoin is floating around in the celestial ether that we call cryptocurrency, they invest this USDC or USD, right? They put it MMFs, money market funds, they put it in bonds, I don't know, T-bills, whatever you want to call it, right? They put it in CDs, annuities, boring shit, right? Boring shit that does not really change in value, no change value. And what do? They just collect percentage premiums, right? The reason Tether is making so much money right now is because we live in a high interest rate environment. Interest rates are historically high. They are. When the XRP token first came out, interest rates were proportionally quite low. Stablecoin issuance wasn't as lucrative as a business model as it is now. It's not. It's just a fact, right? That's why PayPal is bringing a stablecoin to market. That's why there are so many stablecoins coming to market, because they're seeing the success of iPhoneX making fucking $4.5 billion in a quarter and being like, oh shit, we should probably do that. You know what I mean? It is a very profitable business model. So I highly doubt that Ripple didn't originally think to make, I highly doubt, I will repeat that. I highly doubt that the intelligent Ripple Labs team did not think to make a stablecoin first. They probably did. But they weighed the risk rewards against a volatile token that appreciated in value and said, yeah, that is much better for us, that is much better for the company, and that is probably much better for attracting users, because everyone loves a token that goes up. The number one best thing that a token can do from a technology perspective is appreciate in value. So just to kind of reiterate my viewpoint, this has nothing to do with slippage, this has nothing to do with volume, this has nothing to do with anything related to that. Slippage, liquidity, volume, nothing. It is purely a problem of the assumed volatility risk of XRP users. No doubt that blockchain is a key value proposition compared to the traditional system. I mean, I'm currently setting up a stablecoin arbitrage business. I am very well aware of the costs of moving capital worldwide. XRP has done a good job bringing a new stablecoin to market, right? They have a dedicated community. Will it be used? Will there actually be significant volume? That's a question. But at the end of the day, I really think that their stablecoin is a much better product for their intended use case, which is peer-to-peer remittance, cross-border payments between retail corporations and institutions. That is their value proposition. Of course, they're not going to recognize the risk to XRP. They're not. Why would they? It's their own product. They're not going to FUD their own product. Of course, they're going to say it's synergistic, right? Of course. They're not going to be like, yeah, all of our customers should probably use this instead, because you know what that'll happen to what will happen to XRP price? It will go down in value. So the reason I bring this up is because I think it's intellectually important to think about. And basically, if there are any true institutional users of XRP, which personally, I mean, if you look at the XRP scanner, there's about $2 million XRP transactions a day. And if you look through them, there are really not that many that are super high in value. So there might be institutional users of XRP. Are they moving a lot of equity? No. So why would XRP token holders continue to subject themselves to this? What I think is a much more sound investment in that same ecosystem is Ripple shares, right? Ripple equity. And I'm going to use the Palau CBDC experiment as an example. So Palau ran a CBDC experiment with Ripple. And if you look on the Ripple website, a big proportion of their proposed business model, I mean, cross-border payments, we talked about that, digital asset custody, whatever, and CBDCs. So the Palau CBDC experiment got to stage 2 before it was stopped. And how this worked from a technical perspective is they made a fork of the XRPL and ran it on a private ledger, right? This was, I couldn't go trade Palau bucks on Orchestra Finance. This was a private ledger. Only the people using the CBDC would be submitting and receiving transactions from this ledger. So the outcome of this is there is no value accrual for XRP. Literally zero. There is no reason beyond speculation and the idea that Ripple's perceived company value is manifested in the price of XRP, which I think to some degree that is a pretty common narrative. There is no value accrual for XRP beyond the intangible narrative. But you know where there is a lot of value accrual? Ripple Labs. Right? They're going to have to pay to consult. They're going to have to pay Ripple to consult on a CBDC experiment. They're going to have to pay Ripple for infrastructure, right? They're going to have to pay Ripple to lease the technology. That is where the real value is. Ripple shares. Low key, Ripple shares could actually be a really solid investment, not financial advice. The choice you make is your own. But if I had to choose between holding XRP or Ripple shares, 100% I would choose Ripple shares. I think that is where the most amount of alpha can be found, because so much equity, if they have true institutional users and adoption, will be pushed to the stablecoin. Plain and simple. That's the way I view it. Ripple shares are a much sounder investment when you are trying to look at the value capture of the Ripple ecosystem. This thing that I'm going to talk on, sorry, I forgot. It's a bit awkward. We are going to talk about Onyx, JP Morgan's product, right? It literally has the exact same use case as XRP, right? This is a JPM product for peer-to-peer settlement. And there is 2 use cases right now. There is internal settlement between JP Morgan clients, which we've known about for literally years, since like 2021. And there is external use between non-JPM clients. And this is being done through an intermediary called Partior, P-A-R-T-I-O-R. This is something that I've been shouting at the rooftops for people to look into. And I mean, let's go to their website and let's read their business statement. So Partior is a coalition of JP Morgan, Standard Chartered, Temasek, and a couple other of like big multinational banks, whatever. Delivering value for financial institutions to their end customers. At Partier, we are reshaping the way money moves globally by optimizing how liquidity is accessed and enabling the development of new capabilities and products through our unified ledger. Our Our decentralized, programmable, and 24/7 always-on platform is making the global movement of liquidity more seamless, secure, and scalable. It's the exact same thing as XRP, but instead of it being Ripple, which is more or less a new kid on the block, it's JP Morgan. It is the existing cronies that already rule the financial system. So if you have to think about who these people are going to work with, do you think it's going to be JP Morgan or do you think it's going to be Ripple? Last thing, Onyx, not volatile. I mean, we can't see a price, but I would think it would be very safe to assume that it has a dollar peg value. If anyone knows, please correct me, but it is probably very safe to assume that it is not volatile. And if we are talking about market share, JP Morgan Onyx transaction values. I think this should pull up a news story. If not, I am going to, here we go. JP Morgan coin handles $1 billion in transactions daily. This is from October 23rd. Okay, this is from the global head of payments, Takis Georgia Kopoulos. Can't pronounce that to save my life. So they're already moving $1 billion a day. That is more on-chain volume by dollar-denominated value than the XRPL is using, which is a public blockchain that is accessible to everyone in the world and Ripple clients, but JP Morgan Onyx is doing more volume than it. I think you should think really critically about what this means because Onyx is being used for internal settlements through JP Morgan, and it is being used for external settlements through Partier. The further you dig into Partier, the more you will realize that it's literally XRP, but it's owned by the private banks. Private banks do not want to use a public solution for the same reason that XRP, or Ripple, pardon me, was in a very good situation with the Palau CBDC experiment, right? Let me see if I can find this drawing that I made, right? They get consulting and advisory fees. They get infrastructure fees. They get to lease the technology. Maybe they collect a percentage premium. Who knows? It is for those same reasons that Partier exists. It is an opportunity for them to tokenize digital payments and benefit from consulting, benefit from infrastructure, benefit from leasing the technology, benefit from percentage fees. Do you think they're going to give up all this value and just choose to use Ripple instead? My gut instinct is no. Anyways, that's what I think. Thank you for watching. This was a long video. Take care and have a great day.